What's up, YouTube? Welcome to a new series I'm doing. I'm calling this Deadpool2323's One Shot: The Story Behind the Books. So, basically, what this series is going to be is I'm just going to pick one book at a time that I think has a cool story and of how I got it, or there's a story behind that book, and I'm going to tell that story. So, I was going through my collection, and there were a lot of books that I was like, man, I remember, just kind of taking down memory lane, and just some cool stories behind how I got some of them. And so I thought, and I've shared them in my hauls, but I thought I'd kind of spotlight those books, I guess. So, in true namesake fashion, New Mutants 98. First appearance of Deadpool, Gideon, and Copycat as Domino. So, first off, let me say, this particular copy was not my first copy I ever owned. My first copy I ever owned was that one. But this isn't a story about how I got that. I walked into a store and bought that one. So I was in a pawn shop that a buddy of mine owns. And I asked him, I said, hey, his name is Bill, Outpost Pawn. I said, hey, Bill, do you ever get any comic books in? And he goes, no. He goes, I don't really know much about them, so I don't deal with them. I said, oh, okay. And he says, or there was a customer in there, and he goes, I have comic books that I'd be willing to get rid of. And I looked at Bill and said, hey, Bill, I don't want to, do business in your shop. He goes, no, Aaron, it's nothing I would do. Go feel free to talk, guys. So the guy said he had a bunch of comic books to sell. And we exchanged numbers, and I met him later that night. Now, in between the time I left the comic shop and when I met him that night, I had called my buddy back at the pawn shop and said, hey, do you know this guy? And he's like, yeah, real good Christian guy. Comes over every Sunday for dinner to me and my family. And Bill and I are friends, so I trust his word. If he says he's a good man, he's a good man. I didn't have to worry about showing up. But the reason I was worried is because the guy didn't want to meet at his house, and he didn't want to meet at my house. He wanted to meet in a parking lot of a supermarket, which is fine. But it was 9 o'clock at night, and it was dark out. So he pulls out this big tub of comic books, like a plastic tub, and he starts going through the books. All right, I start going through the books, and I'm sorry, guys, I'm trying to set up my stand here. Hold on a second. All right, that's better. Now you can at least see the book. So he starts to talk about he brings out this tub of plastic tub of books, and there's a lot of books in there. And I bought 31 books for $80, and in there was this New Mutants 98. Now, that alone is a pretty cool story, right? But that is just the tip of the iceberg. Like I said, it was dark out. I was going over them with a flashlight. So when I get home, I set the stack down, and I just had them set down in a random order. And I'm going over the conditions now, and I'm looking at it, and it's sitting down, like a stack of comic books, like this, right on the table. And I'd get done. So I had them actually in order. I put them in order when I bought them, and so I'd get done, and I'd just flip it over and set it down. So it'd be like this. I just flip it over and set it down. And when I got to New Mutants 98, and I looked at it, when I flipped it over, there was a second copy of New Mutants 98 in the back. There was 2 copies in the sleeve, and I didn't know it when I bought it. I was like, holy cow. That copy was probably a 7.5. This is probably an 8.5. The one I have graded is a 9.0. That, when I bought it, I was told would probably come out with a press of 9.6. I didn't get it pressed. It came out a 9.0. So with a press, I'm hoping to go up to a 9.4. And I plan on getting it regraded, pressed and graded. So that's my story. Pretty cool. that's how I got this extra copy, and that's how I kept it. And the copy in the back is this copy. The copy that was in the front was the one that had a little tiny tear. Probably took it down to about a 7.75. I took that and I did sell that book, but kept this book. It's a cool story, and that's Deadpool23's one shot on New Mutants 98. So take care, guys. Thanks for checking me out.